All right, this is going to be a quick training on just some quick tips and tricks for how to do special searches or different things you can do in searches within the MLS. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so before we jump into the actual search, I just want to highlight that there's a couple, most commonly we're using the single family search, possibly the multi-family, probably not as common the rental. Um, but I do also want to highlight that there is a cross property search. So I would say most commonly this might be used if you have somebody who's open to both a single family and a multifamily. So instead of having to do two searches that are separate, you can do them as one. You might still want to do separate searches if for some reason, maybe on a multifamily, they're willing to go bigger on their budget versus a house. But it is an option. So I just want to point that out. But for now, we're just going to go into the single family. And then when it comes to doing special searches, one of the items that came up, for example, was somebody was looking for a property that had space for a horse stable. So there's not anything in here that I know of for specifically looking for a place with a horse stable. However, most likely, if there's something that's available, the agent is going to put it in their remarks. So, although this is technically not a special search, I do want to show this, which is the remarks all square. So, one thing about the use of this is that you can't just put in horse. Nothing's going to happen. But, well, it looks like it is doing it. So in the past, okay, so in order to search across all three fields, you want to use the asterisk. So I just want to show you this little question mark on the side will help give you explanations on how things work. I know people have had, I personally have had issues in the past, specifically with price and it not showing things because I wasn't inputting things correctly. So feel free to use that question mark on the side to make sure that you are properly using them. In this case, I'm going to put the little asterisks on both ends of the word horse. And now we've got 353 matches for properties that have the word horse in them. Now, when I use the remarks feature, and obviously I didn't put anything for price, we can look at the map and we'll probably see stuff like right outside, anything that's outside of the cities. Um, we'll look back at the criteria once more here. Um, so let's say we really are looking for a horse stable, and it has to be in the Twin Cities area. So we'll go ahead and narrow this down a little bit further here. Um, and then let's see. We've still got 116 matches, so maybe we can't be over a million. We'll just try that. 0 matches. Okay, let's rewind. Let's just see what we get. The other thing that I do in these situations is I will use Control F. That's the find feature. So this is going to look for words anywhere on your screen. So Control F, and then our search term was horse. So now we're able to see um, what their reference to a horse was. So ideal for small business owner or horse operator. So that's not quite the right horse I think that we're looking for. Let's see what this one says. Horse. 3-stall horse barn. Here we go. This is what we're looking for. So now we know that this property is probably going to be a good fit. Um, doesn't matter. So there is special search or special criteria or savvy way of searching option number one. Second is that if you have a search that you want to do and you're pretty sure you've seen it on the MLS input form. You're pretty sure it's something that shows up on the MLS, but you're not seeing it as one of the search options in this main area, chances are it is something you can still add. Um, so in order to add, so these are some of the additional ones. So if there's anything that you want to add, you'll scroll down to where it says additional fields, add or remove. I've added a few of these searches already. Days on market is something that I've used in the past as a strategy with clients who um, maybe don't want or are unable to compete against other offers, but are looking at the very top of their budget. Then I would say, well, you don't want to look at a home that has only been on the market for 3 to 5 days because chances are that that's going to go into multiple offers. And I don't want you to fall in love with a home that you can't even compete on. However, if it gets past the 10-day mark, let's go take a look at it. Um, the one thing that I've gotten pushback is, well, all the pretty houses are gone, before the 10-day mark. Well, that's kind of the point. You can't compete on those homes. So you're going to look at only homes that have been 10 plus days on the market. So that's a really nice feature that you can use when that's one of your strategies for homes on the market. Maybe it's something where you're at the very top of your budget. You're looking at homes above your budget. Let's say your budget was 400, but you want to maybe look at homes that are 425. Maybe at that point, you only want to look at homes that have been on the market for 100 plus days because those sellers are most likely to accept an offer for less. Um, those are just examples. I'm not saying that that's the actual strategy there. It depends. But that's one. Builder name, bathroom descriptions. So like if there's something specific that you need, then you can go ahead and add those. I'm just trying to see here if there's one thing I will say is I do for some of these things, for example, fencing. Um, Take it with a grain of salt. In some cases, it might be better to just personally go through and filter some of these items because we are relying on the agent having filled out the MLS form fully and properly. Not every agent goes through and highlights specifically the type of fencing if there's fencing in a home. So we're reliant on the information that's actually being, that the agent's actually taking the time to put into the MLS. And all of these items here are typically required items, so they're a bit more reliable versus some of the ones you might add. So let's go through how to add additional fields if the one you're looking for isn't here. So in order to do that, we hit the add or remove button. And then here are all of the options for things that you could possibly want to search for. So let's say, I don't know, we're going to remove that. We're going to remove that. Let's say we want the accessibility features. All you have to do is find it over on this side, highlight it, and add it. Now it's on your list. And then if you want to reorder it too, you can do like if there's something that that you're going to use more often, you can move it to the top of the list by highlighting it. And again, just kind of pushing the button that goes with that particular item. Um, I think that is it for special searches. I hope this helps.